Hello and welcome back to the lab. Today on the bench we have a little bit more from the Heathkit education catalog. This is what is this thing? An EUW-16. Couldn't remember the number. But we're into education green, which is okay. This one's got some problems that we know of. Probably has some problems that we don't know of. But we're going to take a look at it and see if we can't get this thing up and running again. I've got a split knob here, which is just rotating around and not doing anything. So because of that, we're going to change out the knobs. I have a set of knobs from an old receiver. Actually, I have a box of knobs. I know they came from an old receiver. I did not scrap out the receiver. But we have some knobs that we're going to put on here, make this kind of look good, give it a nice bath. It's in pretty rough shape. So we're going to get that all squared away and bring you guys along for the adventure. So with that, let me pop these knobs off first. We'll do some cleaning, get some stuff squared away, and then get a new set of knobs on there, pop it open, and see what we've got to do inside electrically. Thought we were going to be in hex keys on this. We are not. We are in flathead screws. Let's get these pulled off. We're going to get lubricants on we're going to get some lubricant on these shafts as well. Really service up the switches and the mechanisms. That's one of the things I wish you guys could kind of feel some of these things after I work on them. There is a monumental difference between a piece of gear that has not been serviced and a piece of gear that has. Looks like we may actually get some spicy voltage out of here. This looks like it may go up to 1,000 volts or so. Given how light this unit is, 1,000 volts is going to be almost no current. This is a voltage source, so really not going to push much current out of here. The transformers are not going to be very big. Still needs to be respected. Voltage is a problem sometimes. We'll see how it goes. You have to be careful with alcohol. So what's in the spray bottle is just isopropyl alcohol, great for wiping down some of the dust and things like that. If you're too aggressive with it, and sometimes, not often, but sometimes, the paint that these units are stenciled with is alcohol soluble. So what'll happen is you'll spray with alcohol, you'll wipe it, and all the paint, all the labeling will wipe right off. We had one that was fairly alcohol soluble with the previous video, the DLP 5150, my bigger load. It was alcohol soluble. I cleaned some of the labeling right off. So that wasn't great. Well, that's not bad, just for a quick wipe down. That cleaned up fairly good. All right, let's take the covers off. Actually, let's see if the knobs that I have will fit. And if so, we'll take the covers off and see what we've got to address inside. And I knew that the lab had some knobs that we were going to put on this thing. So let's see how these go. Oop, I got to flip these over. These are Allen keys. We have nice threaded inserts, metal inserts. These are going to run really, really well for a long time to come. This is wildly overkill for this unit, though. Actually, we should oil these a bit before we get too excited putting knobs on there. This is not doing anything to the control other than putting a little bit of lubrication on the shaft. This is a very lightweight, very, very lightweight machine oil. Does a great job softening up the grease that some of these units seem to have some trouble with over time. Got a flat spot on there. That's round. That is round. So we do have a flat spot on the range control. So I had to move the set screw to match up on that flat spot. I don't like that. No. That's not great. Yeah, it's got the flat spot, but they really didn't take advantage of that to line that up. Actually, that lines up okay. That one lines up better than the other one, so 1, 10, 100, 1,000. That's not bad. That needs to be cleaned a bit. Ooh, it's rusted. Bit of rust. Let's see, we need to get that off of there. Maybe brighten that up with some emery. This is moving better, even with that little bit of oil. I don't know how I like that, now that I'm seeing that on there. Knobs are kind of dominating the front end of the unit. I think I have some chicken head knobs running around here in the lab. Let me see if I can find them. See what a chicken head knob looks like on there. All right, with a small chicken head knob, that looks much better. I can actually read the markings. So I'll get these knobs put on, and then we'll bring you guys back. I like that a lot better. Well, that looks better. Nice chicken head knobs. I've pulled all the screws out, so I have not lifted the covers off. So we're about to see this together. We're going to see if we can't take care of that too. That was a label at some point. Oh, well, this is in good shape. We have some lighting. Let's see what those are doing in circuit other than turning on the bulb. These caps are going to have to be replaced. Not sure about that one. That one might be able to stay. These for sure need to go. Those switches need to be clean. Oh, that's very, very bad. Found my good light. Okay, so right here where that track is all black and tarnished, that'll need to be cleaned up. Actually, all of them do, so all the switches need to be cleaned. So we'll get on that. That's a nice beefy potentiometer. But yeah, we'll get on cleaning and lubing some switches. And might just be those two caps need to be swapped out. And this one might be good to go after an alignment, of course. But these usually line up pretty quick. All right, well, we found a weird solder joint, so I'm not sure how well this worked. I did not desolder this leg off of this terminal tie strip, so that's actually all the solder. The capacitor just kind of unthreaded out from in there, so I definitely have to clean this up, and then I have to get the caps rewired. So the one cap comes up to this side of the light bulb, this cap comes up through the pin side of the light bulb, and then ties into the other light bulb. So you have a diode to a light bulb, to the capacitor, to a light bulb, to the capacitor, or to the light bulb out, and then a second light bulb to the second capacitor that's there. So I have a feeling these caps are stacked. Would make sense because we have a 1,000-volt supply, and they're 350 volt caps. So I'm glad we're updating these to 450 volt, and we're going to have to measure these just to see what they're at. But there is a 1,000 volt full scale on this unit, so the power supply's got to have a beefy voltage on it. But this kind of concerns me. I'm going to need to get that addressed and make that connection be a little bit better. All right, I have the capacitors rebuilt, and time to apply some power. We're going to bring this up slow and see if it works. This is weird because this is an all-solid state version of this unit. Normally this has some vacuum tubes in it, neons and gas discharge tubes actually for voltage regulation. But I can't find much information on the all-solid state version. We're going to bring it up slow, make sure nothing happens. Hopefully my power supply is in good shape, but we're about to find that out. All right, let's see if we have any excitement. I have this hooked up to the Variac, so we're going to bring it up slow. If anything happens over there, you guys let me know. That's 60 volts. Starting to get some joule light. That's 120. We have on. Theory, I'm asking it I have it set to standard voltage. He's good. So in theory, I'm asking it for about a 10 volts. Maybe I got a top end? No. Okay, so the 0 does work. Okay. This is making more sense now. This only does go up to 100 volts. Because I don't know what the input source is, but this is the times 10 to 90 times 10. That would be 90%. Or 90 and then plus 10 to get to 100. But if we look up at the meter, we have a volt coming out. So if I kick this up all the way, that should be 10 volts. That should be 100 volts. We are looking really good there. So I bet you I could dial not warmed up or anything like that. Off by 20 millivolts on 100 volts and stable? I'll take that. I'll take that all day long. So the unit seems to be working. So what we need to do now, definitely clean the switches. The switches are in bad shape. Do need to do a calibration. And I want to see, one of the main reasons for me to restore this is this signal source. If it works the way I think it is, this will amplify whatever I put in here. So I'll put in a signal here, get more out here. Don't know how much drive power I'm going to have, but I have some reasons why I might want this in between a function generator and an experiment. If I take this out, I wouldn't be as upset as if I took out my function generator if the experiment went kind of sideways, because it does have the potential to blow up some gear. One other thing I forgot to mention while I was editing, the signal switch is just a straight pass-through from this post to this post. It has nothing to do with an amplifier or anything like that, which is unfortunate, given that I was hoping we could use this. However, it's just a straight pass-through to see what you're putting in versus actually just to see what you were putting in on the output. Kicking this over into sum and difference, we'll take that signal, add it, and either the sum or the difference, depending on how the polarity is set. So, unfortunately, not an amplifier. Everything does seem like it's working. 0 works. There goes, 0. We'll hit 0 here real quick. Yep, it zeroes out. And then if we reverse the polarity, negative 100 volts. So that's working exactly as we expect. And we didn't have anything smoke out. So that is also very cool. I'm going to get some contact cleaner on these switches once I let these capacitors discharge. And then start moving these around. That's a couple of day process. Hit it, let it soak, move them around. Hit it, let it soak, move them around. It's just part of the restoration process. Was not expecting a different variant of the EUW-16. I do have one of the EUW-16s that does have the tubes still, so I do have one of each variant, which is kind of weird. I checked the other one up in storage, and yeah, it absolutely did have tubes in it. So, kind of surprised. This one does not, although there is a diode where the tubes usually go. Okay, to test the meter, make sure it's good to take a calibration measurement. The 6510, even though it's not the most stable meter we have here in the lab, totally good for 1% accuracy. That will not be a problem for this meter. We're checking out the 10-volt range with the 3330B, and that's good enough for our work. So what we're going to do is take the output of this, pop it into the Heathkit, and adjust for 10 volts with the absolute lack of any kind of guidance and calibration document. We're gonna adjust it at the 10-volt range. That's very common for working on this type of stuff, and as we can see, it is pretty far off. So there's one potentiometer in the back of this that we're going to tweak. Get a tweaking stick and pop this in here without getting zapped. We'll dial this to 10 volts. Everything was given an appropriate warm-up time. That's about as good as we're going to get it. There's a little detent in that potentiometer. I am not going to complain about that. That is fine. So let's see if I dial this back to there. That's not bad at all because I dialed it back to 95 on the times 100, so that would be 9.5 volts, so 9.49 on the 10 volts, so that is good. We'll see if we can do 9.2. There's 9.2, and we have an accuracy spec that we're trying to hit of roughly 1%, so I am totally happy with that. And if I go down to 0, we're at 9.0. Nothing wrong with that at all. Thanks for stopping by the lab and taking a look at this Heath kit. This is a kit not built. EUW-16. I actually have another one of these that's going to find its way to the bench. I have an EU16A. And the A added some voltage regulation and a few other things that this one didn't have. I did find out after some research that this was the first one. They made an A model, which I think is a little bit more accurate. If you like what you're seeing, hit all the YouTube buttons, like, share, and subscribe, and hang around. If you want some additional content and want to help support the channel, take a look at the Patreon page. Patreons are running ahead from the YouTube channel, and their support helps keep the lights on here in the lab, and videos coming up to YouTube, and as always, is greatly appreciated. With that, I will see everybody in the comments between videos, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Bye for now.